Good morning and welcome to Newsline. It's Wednesday's edition, February the 12th of 2014. In today's top stories, the Election Commission has resolved to reorganize the advance polls on April 20th and the general election on April 27. As for business news, the World Bank has projected the economic growth of 4% in Thailand this year. But first, let's have a look at our top stories. The Cabinet has approved emergency payments for grain sold in the rice pledging scheme to the amount of 712 million baht. The Commerce Ministry proposed the emergency measure to pay farmers participating in the pledging scheme for the 2012-2013 harvest. Nearly 4,000 households that pledged over 40,000 tons of rice have not yet been paid. The Election Commission is set to review the plan on Wednesday, as the caretaker government has limited authority to disperse state budget. The Cabinet meeting follows a meeting on Monday between the National Rice Pledging Commission and representatives of the Thai Rice Farming Association, which failed to establish an agreement. The Cabinet also approved in principle a draft royal decree for the election of senators on March 30th. The registration of candidates has been scheduled for March 4th till the 8th. It is expected the royal decree would be published in the Royal Gazette by March the 2nd. In addition, during the meeting, the term of the diesel excise tax reduction to 0.005 baht a litre was extended for another month until the end of March. The network of farmers from rice-growing provinces is planning to call a rally, a major one, for February 13th in a bid to pressure the government to resign. Network President Kun Kittisak Ratana Waraha said that talks between rice farmers, the National Rice Pledging Commission, the Thai Rice Farming Association and other government officials proved unsatisfactory. The group said that the government had failed to offer any viable solutions during the talks. Hundreds of farmers have been camping out at the Commerce Ministry since last week to press for rice payments. Talks with Commerce Minister Niwattamrong Bunsongpaisan and officials stalled when farmer representatives walked out, saying the government had sent officials who couldn't make decisions on payments. Mr. Kittisak said a large number of farmers will continue to stay at the ministry until the demands are met. He also slammed the government's suggestions that farmers pawn their rice warehouse receipts with rice mill owners. Mr. Kittisak said it is unlikely that mills would agree to such a proposal, adding that in any case, the mills don't have enough funds. The Election Commission has resolved to reorganize the advance polls on April 20th and the general election on April 27th in areas where the previous voting could not take place due to obstructions by protesters. Election Commissioner Somchai Sisuthiyakon revealed that the Commission had convened with electoral staff from a total of 21 provinces which were forced to close their polling stations by anti-government protesters in some or all of their constituencies on January 26 and February 2nd. The 21 provinces comprise all 15 southern provinces: Bangkok, Rayong, Phetchaburi, Phetchabun, Samut Prakan and Samut Sakhon. The meeting reportedly came to a conclusion that the advance voting would be reopened in the problematic constituencies on April 20th, while the official voting would be reorganized on April 27th. Now, despite some provinces' readiness to hold their re-elections within this month, Mr. Somchai was adamant the polls had to be scheduled for late April due to many reasons. The Commissioner elaborated that if the re-elections took place too soon, the continuing anti-election movement of the People's Democratic Reform Committee, or PDRC, could lead to disruptions of the senatorial election on March 30th. He added that national holidays during the first half of April also caused the polls to have to be pushed off to the latter half. Nonetheless, he assured that the dates of April 20th and April 27th were still within the legal time frame of 180 days. As for another 28 constituencies with no candidates, Mr. Somchai said the EC was in the process of asking the government to issue a new draft royal decree so as to allow fresh elections to be held in those areas. The Center for Maintaining of Peace and Order, or CMPO, has decided to not yet disclose the names of financial supporters of the anti-government PDRC saying it has to cross-check them first. Director General of the Department of Special Investigation, or DSI, Mr. Tharit Pengdit, said the government could not yet reveal a name list of 136 financial supporters of the PDRC, since the matter should be handled with great care. The CMPO had assigned 5 government units, including the National Anti-Corruption Commission, the Police, the DSI, the Office of the Narcotics Control Board, and the Revenue Department, to decide on actions against the financial supporters on 11th of February. As for the extradition of PDRC supporter Sathit Segal, an Indian expatriate, the CMPO was waiting for a decision from a committee on permanent residence in the kingdom. The centre therefore asked the Permanent Secretary for Interior to urgently consider the extradition of Mr. Sathit and inform the CMPO director of the results today. And the Department of Special Investigation made known that protest leader Sontiyan Chunruthai Naitam is not allowed to bond himself out of jail following his arrest. Mr. Sontiyan was apprehended at Central Lat Phra Department Store on charges of violating the emergency decree. He is one of the core leaders of the PDRC. DSI staff said the PDRC leader, who is now detained in a facility in Pathum Thani, will continue to be under police custody for 7 more days. He will be presented to the court for further hearing. After the process, he will be able to seek bail. Police are currently searching Mr. Sontiyan's home in Puttamonthon area for more evidence on the case. His arrest marks the first among PDRC members who have been rallying and occupying government offices to pressure the government to resign. The DSI is waiting court orders to arrest 13 more PDRC leaders. The Secretary-General of the National Security Council, Lieutenant General Paradon Patanathaput, has stressed the importance of the imposition of the emergency decree in the capital, saying the People's Democratic Reform Committee, or PDRC's ongoing political gathering was still worrying. According to the NSC Secretary-General, the political situation in Bangkok is still tense, while the demonstration is still susceptible to third-party intervention. He also said the government is on the lookout for rice farmers, demanding payment under the rice support program, possibly merging with the PDRC's protest. He also brushed off rumors of foreign militants infiltrating the Bangkok gatherings, saying that the NSC has not received any such report to date. When asked about any progress in the apprehension of PDRC's core members, especially Mr. Suthep Thuk Suban, Lieutenant General Paradon said that the arrest will be done without violence and depending on the prevailing situation. Regarding the investigation into the Laxi shootout on February 1st, the NSC Secretary-General said that the crime scene investigators are currently conducting scientific examinations in order to determine the culprits behind the attacks. He thus considered that, given the presence of the aforementioned factors, the imposition of the emergency decree is still crucial in order to maintain peace and order in the capital. People still flooded to the 18 passport offices throughout the country on the second day of service resumption, prompting officials at some of the offices to stop giving out queue numbers since the first hour of service. At the Pittsnullo Passport Office, people began waiting in line for the opening hour since 5 a.m. on Tuesday morning. As the queue numbers had been giving out before the opening hour, around 100 people who also came early had to go back home empty-handed. Meanwhile, people in Chiang Rai opted to reserve queue numbers in advance before visiting the Chiang Rai Passport Office to apply for their passports or have them renewed. The office has a capacity to process only 100 passports per day, and the queues have already been fully booked until February 20th. In Phuket, meanwhile, people started arriving at the passport office since 1 a.m. Since the office was able to process only 130 passports per day, visitors were told to reserve their slots 1 day in advance. Kasikorn Bank Public Company Limited has established a division to specifically handle international business affairs in its bid to prepare for rising trade and investment opportunities brought by the formation of the ASEAN Economic Community, or AEC, next year. According to K-Bank President Preeti Dawchai, the move is also initiated in anticipation of the nation becoming an economic partner with China, Japan and South Korea. the three economic powerhouses of Asia, which contribute 25% of the global GDP. President Preeti said that at the moment, the majority of 49% of investments in ASEAN are from Japan, followed by China and South Korea at 16% and 6% respectively, adding that the remaining 29% are intra-regional investments. According to K-Bank President, the new International Business Relations Division will provide assistance to Thai entrepreneurs looking to make investments in ASEAN member countries or vice versa. Meanwhile, Vice President of K-Bank, Pipit Eknithi, disclosed the division would also focus on providing services in international trading, border trading, along with facilitating monetary transactions for tourists visiting Thailand and Thais traveling to nations that have K-Bank branches. I will now take a short break. Up next, major Southeast Asian stocks rose on Tuesday after active buying in a reporting season. Don't go away.
Open the world of information. Embrace public participation. Present Thainess to the world. New dimension of the government's public relations. The 80th anniversary of the Public Relations Department. Creative media for the society. Mobilizing Thailand towards the ASEAN community.
เมื่อมนุษย์ทำลายสมดุลทางธรรมชาติแล้วมนุษย์ก็เป็นผู้ประสบภัยพิบัติจากธรรมชาติร่วมสร้างอนาคตลดภัยพิบัติระดมพลังพลิกฟื้นคืนผืนป่าในทุกชุมชนทั่วประเทศ
For those who have Android smartphones, you can download a PRD News application by searching for PRD News English in Play Store. That way, you can stay up to date with the latest happenings in Thailand.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. I'm Chalapansana Narula. The World Bank has projected economic growth of 4% in Thailand this year and indicated that exports will be the driving force of the economy amid the political standoff. World Bank Country Director for Southeast Asia, Ulrich Zachau, said the bank's latest report on the Thai economy suggested that the country would see 4% growth in 2014. Mainly due to the recovering global economy, which would lead to 6% growth in the Thai export sector. However, the bank warned that the 2014 Thai economic expansion might decrease if the political crisis dragged on until a new government could not be formed. The political factor was still difficult to predict, but strong fundamentals of the Thai economy would offset the tendency for a recession. World Bank senior economist Girida Kaupichit also remarked that the Thai economy grew by just 1.3% in the fourth quarter due to slowdowns in exports, domestic consumption, investment and government spending. According to the World Bank senior economist, she said although the political impasse had not affected the macroeconomy, it had undermined confidence, especially in the tourism sector. According to the Bank of Thailand, the number of credit cards in use at the end of December 2013 was at 18.55 million cards, an increase of 9.9% compared with the same period in 2012. The figure indicates a slower growth in the number of issued cards within the market. The BOT said the 9.03 million credit cards were those issued from domestic and international commercial banks, and the other 9.52 million cards were from other non-bank financial institutions. The central bank also indicated that December's spending through credit cards rose by 6.4 billion baht, which was 4.4% more than from the same period in 2012. It added that consumer spending through credit cards for the month was 151 billion baht, 107 billion of which was from the commercial bank's credit system, with the rest coming from non-bank agencies. Credit card debt at the end of December was 290.4 billion baht, an increase of 11% year-on-year. Meanwhile, the non-performing loans of all credit lending was at 6.6 billion baht, or 2.9%. That's an increase of 1.6 billion baht from December of 2012. According to the Thai Industrial Standards Institute, or TISI, the number of petitions for importing auto parts to assemble luxury cars has declined since the end of last year, indicating that the political impasse has negative effects on the sector. TISI Secretary General Urit Srinongkot said that at present only an average of 20 luxury cars are being ordered weekly, a deep plunge from the final quarter of last year. Earlier, the TISI had approved 2,700 assembly licenses to 300 manufacturers to produce 6,000 cars. However, out of that figure, there are a number of cars which have not registered and are considered illegal to own. To address the issue, Mr. Urit said that authorities have stepped up their inspection, stressing those owning unregistered luxury cars would be prosecuted. He also attributed the fall in luxury car sales to the ailing economy and the political instability, which diminished the local demand. The TISI Secretary General expected the trend would continue throughout the year. And major Southeast Asian stocks rose on Tuesday after active buying in a reporting season and ahead of the congressional testimony by the new head of the U.S. Federal Reserve, with Thai benchmark capped below a key 1,300 mark amid growing domestic risks. Bangkok's SET index closed up 0.4% after a range-bound session that saw the gauge moving in 1,288 to 1,299 range. Commodity stocks such as PTT Global Chemical outperformed as a global recovery bolstered earnings outlook. Traders said players were worried of the political deadlock with the inconclusive February 2nd poll and rice farmer protest raising risk going forward. Thai Exchange noted a fall in volumes to 83% of a full-day average over past 30 days. Across the exchanges, investors piled into shares of Southeast Asian firms following their strong earnings, including Indonesia's Bank Mandiri Tbk and Singapore Airlines, both up more than 2%. Philippine shares, meanwhile, outperformed in the region, with the main index up 1% at the highest in more than 2 weeks, with foreign investors buying shares a net $12.46 million. And let's have a look at the exchange rates and also some of the commodity prices.
Open the world of information. Embrace public participation. Present Thainess to the world. New dimension of the government's public relations. The 80th anniversary of the Public Relations Department. Creative media for the society. Mobilizing Thailand towards the ASEAN community.
เมื่อมนุษย์ทำลายสมดุลทางธรรมชาติแล้วมนุษย์ก็เป็นผู้ประสบภัยพิบัติจากธรรมชาติร่วมสร้างอนาคตลดภัยพิบัติระดมพลังพลิกฟื้นคืนผืนป่าในทุกชุมชนทั่วประเทศ
For those who have Android smartphones, you can download a PRD News application by searching for PRD News English in Play Store. That way, you can stay up to date with the latest happenings in Thailand.
You're watching Newsline. A network of anti-alcohol groups submitted a letter to the Department of Disease Control Director General yesterday to call on authorities to strictly enforce the ban on alcoholic beverage sales on Maka Bucha Day. Makabucha Day falls on February 14 this year, the same day as Valentine's Day. The anti-alcohol groups were asking authorities to ban sales of alcohol for the entire 24 hours of February 14th. They also asked that officials visit various localities to ensure that shops were complying with the ban, as well as to guard against sales of alcohol to minors. In addition, they asked that provincial public health officers collaborate with revenue officials and the police in this regard. In the meantime, the Business Forecasting Center of the University of Thai Chamber of Commerce revealed that its survey indicated 3 billion baht will be spent on the occasion of Valentine's Day, whereas 2.8 billion baht will be spent for Makabucha Day activities on February 14th. Although both amounts were higher than the previous year, they were less than the amount spent in the years before. The center attributed the lackluster spending to higher product prices in the eyes of consumers and the political uncertainty, resulting in people spending money more carefully. And a Thai woman will be the first Thai national ever to fly in space after having been selected by the Space Expedition Corporation during her USA trip. Miss Pirada Techavijit will have a chance to make history and become the first Thai ever to travel in space. She is one of the 23 winners out of 107 candidates from 62 countries around the world. According to Kun Pirada, she was selected by the Space Expedition Corporation when she attended a space camp in Florida, USA. The excursion will start in 2015, during which all of the 23 winners will travel in a spacecraft, Lynx Mark II, to view the planet Earth from a distance of over 100 kilometers away in space. Ms. Pirada, during her space tour, will travel one-on-one with a pilot with speeds of up to 3,550 kilometers per hour into space. It will take approximately 3 minutes and 30 seconds before the ship reaches 103 kilometers above sea level. After that, the ship will stop for 6 minutes to grant her the opportunity to capture memorable pictures from outer space before returning to Earth. Defending champion Nongnut Tropical Garden will defend its title at the prestigious Chelsea Flower Show 2014 in London, England. The Nongnut Tropical Garden, in collaboration with the Department of Tourism under the Tourism Ministry, held a press conference to announce that it would again this year, during May 20th till the 24th, take part in the Chelsea Flower Show 2014, competing against more than 50 garden decorators from around the world. According to Nongnut Garden Director Kampon Tansacha, this year's display will be focused on the bonds between the Thai and British monarchs and their respective peoples in order to honor their roles as heads of state in the long history of both countries. This year, Nongnut Garden is hoping to defend the title after having won gold medals in the 4 previous events consecutively. The exhibit last year featured a wooden Thai elephant and a recreation of the Royal Thai Barge, all decorated with orchids and other Thai plants. The Chelsea Flower Show 2014 will be held from May 20th until May 24th in London, England. Nongnut Tropical Botanical Garden is situated on a 500-acre piece of land in Chonburi Province. It is considered the biggest and most beautiful botanical garden in Southeast Asia and also renowned for impressive elephant and cultural shows. And that wraps up our program for the day. If you have any suggestions and comments, please write to us. The email address is newsline.nbt@gmail.com. There are other ways you can get in touch with us as well. Facebook, just simply type in NNT, or check out our website, that is thainews.prd.go.th/newseng. All right, we're going to say goodbye today with the buffalo competition held in Phuket. It is also aimed at raising awareness about the importance of these animals in rice farming in Thailand. I'm Chalapan Sanarula. Thanks for joining. Sawasdee ka.